As Saudi Arabia, just the name conjures images of endless golden dunes, ancient trade routes, and the echoes of caravans that once crossed the vast, sun-baked expanse. It's a place where history and myth blend seamlessly, where every grain of sand seems to hold a secret from centuries past. For generations, this land was shrouded in mystery, its borders closed to most of the world. Stories of Arabia drifted through the corridors of time, tales of Bedouin tribes, legendary cities lost to the desert, and the birth of civilizations. To outsiders, it was a forbidden realm, glimpsed only through faded photographs and whispered legends. But everything changed when the kingdom finally opened its doors to travelers. Suddenly, the world was invited to step into a living legend, to walk the same paths as ancient traders and explorers. For me, it felt like receiving a personal invitation to witness history unfold before my eyes. I found myself longing to see the landscapes that inspired poets and prophets, to stand where empires once rose and fell, and to experience the raw beauty of a land shaped by time and tradition. But more than the scenery, I wanted to meet the people behind the headlines. The families who call this place home, the storytellers, the dreamers, and the everyday faces that make up the fabric of Saudi life. This wasn't just a holiday, it was a rare opportunity to witness a country in the midst of transformation. Saudi Arabia is a place where ancient traditions meet bold visions for the future, where gleaming skyscrapers rise beside centuries-old ruins, and where the rhythm of daily life is changing with every passing year. With hope in my heart and a suitcase packed with light clothes for the desert sun, I prepared for my journey. But before I could set foot on Arabian soil, I had to navigate a different kind of adventure, the maze of paperwork and forms required for the Saudi tourist visa. Each document, each form, each careful step in the process brought me closer to the shimmering sands and the promise of discovery. The anticipation grew with every email confirmation and every official stamp, as if the journey had already begun. I imagined wandering through ancient cities like Al-Ula and Diriyah, exploring winding streets lined with stories and standing in awe before landmarks that have witnessed the rise and fall of dynasties. And so, the adventure truly began, not with a flight, but at my own desk, a cup of tea in hand, surrounded by maps and dreams. With every click and signature, I was one step closer to answering the call of Arabia, ready to discover a world both timeless and new. The visa process felt like a quest, gathering treasures before meeting the gatekeepers. Passport valid for 6 months? Check. A digital photo with a plain background, no big smiles, harder than it sounds when you're excited. Proof of accommodation. My hotel booking in Riyadh, ready to show I had a plan. Return flight ticket. A promise to come home, and a concrete date for my adventure. Credit card for online payment. Essential for the digital process. I laid out my documents. Passport, photo, hotel, flights. Each was a key to the next step. With everything ready, I felt calm and prepared. The digital caravan to the visa portal awaited. With documents in hand, I logged on to the official Saudi e-Visa website. The site was modern and easy to use, clear instructions step by step. I entered my details, uploaded my photo, and filled in my hotel and flight info. The process was precise but straightforward. Every detail mattered. A few simple questions about my visit and a promise to respect local customs. Payment was the final step. Visa fee and mandatory insurance all in one go. I clicked submit and watched my application disappear into the digital ether. A confirmation email arrived instantly. The whole process took less than 30 minutes. Efficient, smooth, and surprisingly stress-free. Now all I could do was wait. The journey was officially underway. Waiting for visa approval is its own adventure. Every email ping felt like it could be the one. I filled the time with daydreams, walking ancient streets, tasting dates, sipping Arabic coffee. I mapped out routes, read about Saudi history, and practiced a few Arabic phrases. Doubts crept in. Had I made a mistake? But I reminded myself I'd been thorough. The wait became a lesson in patience and trust. It was a time to surrender control and let the process unfold. By the time approval came, I felt ready, not just as a tourist, but as a student of a new culture. The anticipation had deepened into genuine eagerness. The waiting was part of the adventure. Soon, the real journey would begin. The approval email arrived the next morning, my e-visa for Saudi Arabia. It was just a PDF, but it felt like a golden ticket. The process had taken less than a day. Astonishingly efficient. The fee, including insurance, was a small price for such a grand adventure. I printed several copies, tucking them into my passport and travel wallet. Holding the visa, the dream became real. I could almost feel the desert sun and hear the call to prayer. The planning and waiting had led to this moment. With the visa secured, I packed my bags with excitement and respect for the culture. The adventure was about to begin in earnest. The flight to Riyadh was a mix of anticipation and wonder. As the plane soared above endless stretches of golden desert, I found myself glued to the window, watching the landscape shift and shimmer beneath the clouds. Every mile brought me closer to a place I'd only read about in books and seen in photographs. A land where ancient history and modern ambition meet under the same sun. As we descended, the city emerged from the desert, a blend of ancient sands and modern towers. The skyline was a striking contrast, sleek glass buildings rising from the earth, surrounded by the timeless expanse of sand. It was as if the city itself was a bridge between past and future, tradition and innovation. Stepping off the plane, I was greeted by dry, pleasant warmth and a spotless modern airport. The air felt different, crisp, clean, and filled with possibility. The architecture of the terminal was impressive, with sweeping lines and bright spaces that welcomed travelers from all over the world. Signs in Arabic and English made navigation easy. Even as a first-time visitor, I felt a sense of comfort knowing I could find my way. The blend of languages was a reminder of the city's openness to the world, and I was grateful for the thoughtful details that made the arrival process smooth. At immigration, a friendly officer welcomed me, scanned my documents, and stamped my passport. There was a genuine warmth in the way he greeted me, a small but meaningful gesture that set the tone for my journey ahead. The process was smooth and genuinely welcoming. Staff members smiled and offered help to those who needed it, making the experience feel less like a formality and more like a true welcome to their country. I was officially in Saudi Arabia. Holding my passport, freshly stamped, I felt a surge of excitement and gratitude. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the official start of my adventure. The arrivals hall buzzed with families and laughter. Everywhere I looked, people were reuniting, embracing, laughing, and sharing stories. The energy was infectious, and I couldn't help but smile at the joy that filled the space. I paused to soak it all in, the journey from dream to reality, the sights, the sounds, the feeling of being somewhere entirely new. It was overwhelming in the best possible way. I took a deep breath, letting the moment settle in my heart. I had crossed the threshold. With each step, I left behind the familiar and stepped boldly into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. The adventure was no longer a plan. It was happening now. Every detail, the hum of the airport, the faces of fellow travelers, the promise of discovery, reminded me that this was real. My first steps were filled with wonder. The city outside beckoned, full of stories waiting to be uncovered, and I felt a sense of awe at the possibilities that awaited me. This was the beginning of something truly special, a journey not just across continents, but into a world of new experiences, friendships, and memories that would last a lifetime. My first taste of Saudi Arabia began the moment I stepped into a taxi at the Riyadh airport. My driver, Abdullah, greeted me with a warm smile and immediately offered me a bottle of cold water, a small gesture but one that felt deeply meaningful after a long flight. As we drove through the city, he shared stories about his family, his favorite places in Riyadh, and even taught me a few words in Arabic. It was my first glimpse into the genuine hospitality that Saudi Arabia is known for, and it set the tone for everything that followed. As night fell, the city transformed before my eyes. The skyline sparkled with a modern energy, tall glass towers illuminated against the desert sky, bustling streets alive with people heading to restaurants and cafes. Riyadh felt vibrant and cosmopolitan, a city confidently embracing the future while honoring its traditions. Yet, beneath the modern surface, the hospitality I encountered felt timeless. Every person I met, from shopkeepers to strangers on the street, greeted me with a sense of warmth and openness that was both surprising and comforting. There was a palpable sense of peace and safety in the air, something I noticed immediately and which stayed with me throughout my visit. The streets were filled with smiles and friendly nods. The scent of incense drifted from open doorways, mingling with the rich aroma of cardamom from freshly brewed Arabic coffee. These fragrances seemed to be the very perfume of Saudi hospitality, inviting me to slow down and savor each moment. My hotel was a beautiful blend of modern luxury and traditional Arabic design. Ornate patterns adorned the walls, and the staff greeted me with genuine kindness, making me feel instantly at home. But as comfortable as my room was, my curiosity about the city was even stronger. I found myself drawn outside, eager to explore. The streets at night were quiet and calm, with a sense of order and cleanliness that surprised me. I felt completely safe, even as a woman walking alone, something I hadn't expected, but which quickly became clear was the norm here. Families strolled together, children laughing and playing while parents chatted nearby. The city felt alive, but never overwhelming. There was a sense of community and togetherness that was impossible to miss. I saw groups of women gathered in parks and cafes, laughing and sharing stories late into the evening. Their joy and freedom stood in stark contrast to the stereotypes I'd heard before my trip. It was clear that life here was rich with connection and friendship. Everywhere I looked, I found warmth, dignity, and a genuine sense of pride in local culture. People were eager to share their stories and traditions, and I felt welcomed into a world that was both new and unexpectedly familiar. That first night, I sat on my hotel balcony sipping mint tea and gazing out over the city lights. I felt a deep sense of contentment and gratitude. My first impressions of Saudi Arabia were nothing short of transformative. The assumptions I'd brought with me were quickly replaced by real human connection and kindness. I had come to Saudi Arabia seeking history and adventure, but what I found first was a profound sense of welcome, a reminder that sometimes the best journeys begin with an open heart. If you're planning your own Arabian adventure, embrace the culture with an open heart. Dress modestly, loose clothing, covered shoulders and knees. A scarf is handy for women. For men, long trousers and shirts are best. It's about respect, not restriction. Don't hesitate to interact. Saudi hospitality is legendary. Accept coffee and dates with a grateful shukran. Learn a few Arabic phrases. Even a simple greeting goes a long way. I felt safer here than in many places. Public order is strong and solo travel is easy. Use common sense but enjoy the security. Be amazed by the diversity: mountains in Asir, Red Sea reefs, ancient tombs in Alula. Renting a car is easy. Explore beyond the cities. Let curiosity guide you through the kingdom's variety. If you're dreaming of a journey that will touch your soul, consider Saudi Arabia. Don't let old perceptions hold you back. The kingdom is beautiful, historic, and full of warmth. The adventure starts with a simple online visa. Go see the ancient tombs of Hegra, the bustling souks of Jeddah, and taste sweet dates as a treasured guest. My trip changed me, reminding me that behind headlines, we're all just people seeking connection. The most beautiful discoveries are often in unexpected places. The kindness and wonders I found left a lasting mark. The world is a vast book. Don't read just one page. Turn to the chapter on Arabia, pack your bags, and go. You'll remember the journey for the rest of your days.